whatever asshole reads this, including you, future Lark. You sentimental lowlife fuck. It's been an entire year now since I was first informed that Oberon had designed a new punishment for me. Now that it seems I've faltered, the Overseer has thrust this journaling practice on me, probably to remind me of the miserable state that I find myself in. I'm not sure if Oberon had thought that streaming would somehow re-socialize me, or, more likely, that he just pushed it on me because he knows how much I can't stand being near others. Either way, it started as something that I loathed doing, but I decided that I won't back down from this challenge. Not liking the situation I'm in won't stop me from being the world's greatest at what I'm doing, if only to force that pompous, decadent, wine-swirling prick to shove his contemptuous pride back down his breathing pipe. Looking back now, my sentence has been a strange and altogether unexpected journey. The Twitter account was where it all started. Getting that set up was the demented prelude to the slapstick comedy my life would become for the next 12 months. It was around then that I was introduced to Saoirse, who presented herself as a normal enough mantis and was, for all intents and purposes, very pleasant. But I knew a liar when I saw one, and there was a malice in her bulbous eyes, a calculated coldness. All the same, she was to be my assistant and artist, which I suspect was more a punishment for her than for me. And so it was that we began the account for Liminal Lark. Even the name was a mockery of the title I'd earned amongst the other Fae. At one time, it had referred to a thief so elusive he seemed to reside in a space between realities. Now, Oberon used it to reference my place between a digital realm and a physical one, as well as the mercurial nature of my tenure at the prison. Saoirse quickly got to work on designing an outfit based around the clothes that I was wearing when I had initially been caught. A noble coat that I had, borrowed from the closet of some marquise or another. It didn't take her long to work through a few styles that I had worn throughout the years, but we settled on a slightly toned down look. Once that was set and we had everything in place, all that was left was to reveal my PNG, my voice, and to get ready for my first stream. I was allowed to start small, with a game that I'm comfortable with. In this case, it was a Pokemon Nuzlocke, my first real attempt at one ever. As expected, it was around this time that I began the tradition of shoving my foot so far into my mouth that I'm perpetually chewing on my own ankle. I still remember my first clip, the legendary words that are etched into the scripture of my Vtubing career.
I'm gonna eat your mom's ass. She's gonna regret complimenting me. Well, Ludicolo does have those ass-eating lips, which isn't something you ever thought you'd hear, but here we are.
Of course, this wasn't the only foundational moment for me. The little-known bedrock for the Liminal Terrarium, or Lark Chord, was placed around this time, which remains one of the greatest fuck-ups in the history books of idiotic, arm-flailing tumbles down the stairs of life choices. This time also marked the beginning of my only solace in Vtubing, which is the one time every month that I was allowed to torch every single-celled organism that limming-like fell upon the pyre of my tier lists. Oh, how I cherished those moments. At least, initially. I met Boomba, a brain-dead if somewhat charming caveman, who I would go on to collaborate with many times for streams in the future.
There's no bonding experience like sharing a fucking urinal. You wanna hold hands while we do it? That's probably what's happening right now beneath the screen on our little gremlins right now, so you're welcome, chat.
You're just sharing, like, the trauma together.
I also had my first collab with the gum-rottingly optimistic Cardboardian, Captain Cube, and the Say-So Idol, Rena.
Chocolate! Yum, 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 yum. Mmm! Cashews? Really makes you think!
You okay there? How many batteries does it have, Lark? Like, that's relevant. Where do you, is it AAA or AA? Do you need me to run to Walmart before it fucking blows your head off? You need anything? I'm gonna grab some milk, Lark.
Milk? You like milk?
What? Shh. Tell me how to defuse the bomb, Rita!
After which, I became maybe a bit too zealous in my eternal, although exceptionally justified, crusade to verbally flay all VTubers. And I may have indulged in 2 separate tier lists, though the second one was more or less thrust upon me by the prison. Also, it was this month that a foul dance betwixt Homestuck and I was initiated. A sweat-scented waltz to the steady drumbeat of my ego being pummeled into mulch.
We snapped his fucking neck with our fat ass. I can't help that I'm so fucking thick and juicy, like a delicate meat.
Though I was able to draw attention away from Homestuck for a little bit by collaborating with Genevieve Roscoe, it didn't last for long, as the webcomic spin-offs would become a weekly Sunday tradition.
Hey, what's up, little man? You can't come up here, neener. Oh, that's a couple, and they can fit. Well, we're not safe inside there, but we are safe up here, so... I fell in!
It was in May that the Gremlin army began to arise. A series of dubious little Frankenstein's monsters, crafted by the scythe arms of my void-born assistant. Without slowing, she also produced new emotes for the stream, alongside a logo for all future Lark-related content that the Warden might deem worthy. Not that I was able to find a moment's rest either, as I had my first collab with the pirate-turned-detective Mocha P.I.
Okay, start over, Beepus. What is that?
Okay. I don't want to be... I don't want to be too crass about it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It is a penis.
This was followed shortly by a new reference sheet and a tribute piece from Saoirse, displaying the various people that somehow managed to choke back the stomach-churning mind bleach of my ceaseless, rambling discharge. I also started my playthrough of critically acclaimed MMO Final Fantasy XIV, which I still hold the record time for to this day, having beaten the entire game in roughly 2 months.
Mayhap, have you tippled your dipple in something akin to the celestial Vandersnooch? Did you find the Deus Ex Machina stone with which to fell Shadow Bobado and evil McBadguy?
Luckily, I was able to wash away the memory of that drudgery with a much more interesting, if somewhat eerily accurate game, Wildermyth. While the prison was focused on making plans for a new live 2D model, I was beginning the early stages of my escape. As any escape artist that doesn't make a habit of leaking their brains out of their ears will tell you, it's generally a bad idea to not continue humoring your keepers when planning to abscond. So it was that my first collab with Luna Amari VT was scheduled.
I got Luna in a fucking baby carrier strapped around my torso!
Oh my god!
Along with a new tier list and a game I still enjoy to this day, Stonehearth. Finally, in mid-August, during my first karaoke stream no less, I was able to put my plan into action. The details of which I won't be recording here, because I'm not some shit-gobbling toddler who would be gullible enough to expect that this won't be read by the Overseer. That being said, my freedom was short-lived. I made it over the mountains traveling southward, making only a few small stops. Notably, to buy an anti-scrying rune from a hedge witch in the deep woods. There, at the roots of the stone peak was where I found my folly, for the conniving bark-eater had sold me a false rune. I was magically tracked and captured only a few days later, after eluding their hounds. After which, they transported me to a higher security facility. One whose location sits at about an Area 51 out of Bermuda Triangle on the scale of how mercurial its place in reality is. Here in my new cell, I was put to work with a Reincarceration stream and met with a surprisingly warm welcome. It was a long night and, all things considered, not the worst activity after weeks spent in the woods and cold wind of the mountaintops. This was followed by one of the most infuriating streams I have ever participated in. And for the rest of my eternal life, until I witness the end of the universe and the Feywild is swallowed into the void between all things, I will never forgive or forget the smug musings of Bennett Foddy. May his name rest in a festering bog of shit.
You little stunted bastard. You're going to put one leg in front of the other, and you're gonna fall onto it. No, put your weight on the fucking leg. I swear, where are you going? Wait a minute! Wait! No, stop. Bad. Leg down! Up to...
Oh, right. I had almost forgotten. This is also the time when I did my first sponsored stream, which, also went surprisingly well.
That's mental illness, isn't it?
Once I had settled back into a rhythm of daily life, I began streaming again in earnest. Starting with a Dave Ago collab with Wafo Bafo and followed by my first run in Phasmophobia.
My bones! It shredded all of my armor! Fuck! My armor!
This was also the month when the Liminal Lark logo was updated, in expectation of my birthday stream. In recognition of the incredible achievement that is slobbering all over myself until the Earth spun once around the sun, I was allowed a personal birthday stream, where we revealed that I had figured out the secret to entering a third dimension. Finally, I had the freedom to express myself properly, specifically by doing same-day delivery of my middle finger to everyone watching.
Yeah.
Haha, Lark, are we friends?
Sure, we're all friends.
Hold on. I haven't hit record yet. Can you answer the question?
Oh, no. I don't have any friends. Thank you for asking.
All right,
With this newfound 3D body, I was able to insert myself into the game Valheim and achieve my dream of having my escapism realized. In this way, at least digitally, I could roam the mountains once more. The next month proved to be somewhat sparse, as I had many things to attend to outside of streaming. Specifically, I was hired out as a pathfinder in some distant woods. Nearly every weekend, I would ride out with a few other prisoners in an escort, where we would then begin cutting through the trees by hand to form a new path for the residents there. The Pixelmon server was created early on in October, which, admittedly, was a genuinely pleasant time. Looking back, it was kind of like a community Legends of Arceus. Sadly, somewhere along the way, the Overseer found time to schedule me a Five Nights at Freddy's stream. Have you ever played FNAF, dear reader? No? Are you perhaps scared by that animatronic Ursine pizza freak? Allow me to assure you that true fear lies not in the grease bear, but in the fury that you will feel when that stupid, mono-eyed fox ruins your run for the 10th time in a row. I never did beat that game, and I have no intention of trying again. Thankfully, we were able to close the month out on a good note, as I was given a design with my old thief outfit, a token of my life before this. November was a month of drastic change for the trajectory of my life. Yes, I received technical upgrades in the form of new streaming equipment, and I got my own theme song from Sakyo. Yes, I started playing a game with incredible writing that has influenced every aspect of indie gaming since its creation. Yes, I got to collab with Magical Momoka in one of the most chaotic streams of my career. And yes, we did our first Crab Game community night, and I was able to vent my frustrations against chat 12,000-fold with vigorous taunting and unexpected betrayals.
I fucked up. I could do anything. Change the world.
But none of those things matter. There was only one important event in November. A moment so profound that I will look back upon it with fondness for the rest of my life. It was in this month that Boromir's sword was bestowed upon me. A responsibility and privilege that I will cherish until the wells of my life are spent. At the end of 2021, during the time of Chris Kringlefucker's glorious reign, our Animal Crossing game was begun. This was a time for cozy Nintendo Switch games and a lot of community involvement, including our first Soul Link with Fangu, who remains one of my greatest nuisances. It's our Cricketude, though, remember? That's our baby you're talking about. I can't believe we're not married. I even went so far as to request messages for my streaming chamber, which I then put on the wall along with art. Thankfully, these act as a waterboard for my brain, so that anytime I get too comfortable or start to think that, hey, maybe it's not so bad being here, I can look up for but a moment and have my thoughts dunked in the metaphorically teeth-shattering cold water of despair. This reminds me not to let myself fall prey to friendship or camaraderie. I won't let this community warm my withered heart. I will only allow the fire of hatred to fuel me as I seek my escape. And with my animosity renewed, I was able to push out more hours of streaming than any other month beforehand, totaling 144 hours in December alone.
I did a pointer finger instead of a middle finger. You know what I meant.
This was all capped off with our very first VR stream, where I was able to interact digitally with Twitch in real time.
I'm scared. Lark is looking down on me. I'm scared.
How do you
I'm
like
scared.
that?
I'm scared. Lark,
Yeah, you should be scared. Yeah.
That's terrifying. That is terrifying. You were really the real. Okay, that was the first time. That was the first time. Oh my god, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared.
It's rough. Everybody's first time getting looked down on by Lark.
No, it was real. It was our first real-time interaction.
At last, we come to the present. Turning the final page on the world's least funny joke book for idiot internet clowns, I released the 12th monthly tier list. This was the end of an era for the channel, but every end gives way to a beginning. A lot of new things happened and continue to happen even now. Wafo gifted me a gremlin model in partnership with Saoirse's Gremlin Art, of course. This foul abomination, born of the sin between two devious minds, has found a special place in the attic of my heart, like a particularly goblinoid poltergeist that won't quit cackling and skittering around at 3 a.m. The Vroid model is updated and given even better facial tracking, so that I can better express my absolute disdain for every word I read in chat. And the prison was able to profit off my visage by releasing a Lark keychain. I'm not sure that I enjoy the idea of a bunch of small effigies of myself roaming around the world, but I can only hope that they come to life to make their owners' lives miserable. It's been a year of new acquaintances, new annoyances, and new experiences. I've played many games, collaborated with many talented entertainers, and enjoyed very little of it. If I'm being honest with myself, though, I haven't always hated it, and I've found myself putting real effort into this project, which hasn't gone unnoticed. I suspect the prison has seen my works and assumed me comfortable with this position. They've gotten lax, vigilance has slipped, and I'm starting to see the cracks in the system. Maybe Oberon has been too lackadaisical in his punishment, for it will be this new drive that pushes me towards escape. I will find my way out of here, and when I do, I'll turn this stream into a monumental middle finger, broadcast globally for that crotch-stained dick puppet of a Fey king. I'll keep streaming. I'll stand at the top of a mountain of others. And from my perch, I'll look down upon the rest of reality and scream out the vast obscenities that will carve my name into history. This is my year.
I'm gonna give you a, here, take this. Take this. It's dangerous to go alone. Borrow this. It's the only one you'll ever see. And it's not even genuine. It's all bullshit.